with me. If you want to send me an email, they all come directly to talk@LarsLarson.com, Facebook at facebook.com / The Lars Larson Show, and C. Howard Diaz is my guest, the author of A Charter of Negative Liberties, Defining the Bill of Rights and Other Commentary. So do you think that on 4th of July and on the other national holidays in which we celebrate the United States of America and its founding, do you think that people realize how important the Constitution is today, Mr. Diaz?
My personal, no, I really don't. I believe that there is a high percentage probably that do, but overall I would say the majority don't. They just think it's a holiday, and they just, it's a day off work. It's really sad to have written a book like this, and I have hundreds of friends and hundreds of people that I've sent it out to, and I'm seeing them start to break into basically two different categories. And these are all conservative friends of mine, and Christians, and half of them can't read the book. They are having trouble with it. They don't understand parts of it, and they call and ask or email and ask, and I answer. But I shouldn't say half, maybe a quarter. And the other one, the other side does, and I don't use this as trying to judge them or anything. It reminds me of Jay Leno or the other guy when they have the segments where they go out and
they go out and talk to people on the street. What is it called? Jaywalking.
Yeah, all the people are stupid, and so we sit there and we laugh at the stupid kids because they can't answer questions that they should be able to answer. We laugh, but we don't understand why they can't answer them. The school system isn't teaching them. We hear all the time, it's the parents' fault. It's the parents. Well, if the parents are going to be blamed for the school system that we have now, if the parents are going to be blamed for Jimmy Carter creating the national education, the Department of Education, I should say, at the national level, if the parents are going to be blamed for the National Education Association, the teachers union, that is approaching communism, for God's sakes, then it's the parents' fault. But the fact remains is it's the system's fault that has been created by the left over the years with more unconstitutional stuff. Where in the Constitution does it say anything about having a national Department of Education?
It doesn't. And in fact, I think it would be one of the first things that I would eliminate if I were President of the United States. And it was one of the dumbest things Jimmy Carter ever did.
Well, there's a here right there.
Yeah.
Department of Energy, these departments that Jimmy Carter created were just paybacks for people that helped him gain the presidency, and we know how successful he was with that. Nixon created the EPA. Find that in the Constitution. Now, of course, the environmentalists will say, well, I'm anti the environment. I'm not anti the environment. Okay?
You have pointed out, Mr. Diaz, that the Constitution is a definition of what the federal government is allowed to do, or told to do, the enumerated powers, and the things that it is told not to do with regard to citizens. For example, we have a postal service right now that's running tens of billions of dollars in the red. And I get people saying, but the Constitution says we have to have a postal service. And I say, no, go back and read it. It says the government may establish, and it gives the power to the government to establish a postal service. It doesn't say you have to have it, or that you have to keep it going when it's outlived its usefulness. For example, there might have been a time where we said you have the power to manufacture buggy whips, but today we don't need as many buggy whips as we did a long time ago, and so we don't do it anymore. And I think the same applies to the Postal Service. With the internet and everything else, we've kind of outlived the usefulness. What do you think you could best do? Give some advice as to what parents and individual young citizens might do to make sure that they really understand this wonderful document, because I think it is a wonderful document. I don't necessarily trust the people who administer it at the Congress, in the White House, or in the Supreme Court. But I think the document itself has showed an amazing flexibility to be able to deal with a changing America. It was written, all those years ago, 200 years ago, and yet it still seems to be a very good document for framing what government is and what citizens are and what the government shouldn't do to the citizens.
Well, the definition of freedom will never change, and that's what these two documents do. They define freedom, okay? And the way they do it is by creating a central government with very, very limited authority, and the Bill of Rights, which points out what they cannot do to us as people. But take, for an example, the immigration case
Yeah, let's touch on that for a moment before we wrap up this interview. What do you make of the Supreme Court saying to Arizona, yes, you have the right to stop people, and when stopped, you can inquire into their immigration status, but you can't make it illegal for somebody to seek employment who's illegally in the state of Arizona?
Let me answer that question by telling you what it says in the Constitution about what the government can do about immigration, period. It's 7 words. They have the authority to establish a uniform rule of naturalization. That is what the Constitution says that Washington, D.C. can do.
It does not prohibit any of the states that are sovereign.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Don't know. No. Okay. I wouldn't. I'd just leave it alone. Well, that's fine. Then we'll pay it back. But okay. Why? What's Monday? Oh, you mean for the visit? Okay. What's wrong with that? No? So. I don't care. All right. Love you more. I didn't get home till after 1 o'clock in the morning. And then it was like 3 by the time I actually fell asleep. So I'll probably be